whole conversation, but I don't remember that.
I can see how like yeah I understand what happened. I can see that.
We should be
I
live
don't even
now.
remember what we talked about. That's how bad I am.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. Test, test, test. Oop, that's no good. Test, test, test. Hello. Hello, Mitch.
Man, how you doing?
No, I was hearing some echo or something.
Yeah. Wow. There's a lot of lag on that echo.
No, I'm playing back to record.
Yeah, I know. Man, man, man. How you doing?
Sorry about that.
All right.
No, you're not.
The video is live now.
Just tell me when you want me to start recording. Actually, I need a couple tests because I'm on the main
We
machine.
record this. Oh my gosh.
Test 1, 2, 3. Testing. This is my voice. I'm talking to you. Coming to you live from Oregon, where
Testing one,
sun,
two. Testing
sun
one.
never shines. It's gray all the time.
How about you, Tim?
I am coming from Pittsburgh, where it shines all the time.
All right.
Oh,
It's like San Francisco here every day.
And Martin do the same thing, but it doesn't have to be Pittsburgh.
I just did. Oh, okay. Well, testing 1, 2.
All right, it's
Test,
good.
tested. Oh, wow. Okay.
All right.
All right. I'm gonna put my little notes. Little cough. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Geeks. Oh, you stepped on me. You said, oh, I was supposed to tell you, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. I'm sorry. I'm ready whenever you are. Do you want to count down?
Go ahead. It's recording. Just go ahead. Start whenever you're.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Geeksters episode 139. This is a show where we talk about all things geeky. If it has a computer at some point, we're going to talk about it. Do not adjust your stereo. Do not adjust your podcast. We are back. All of us are here. This is actually Martin Obando, one of the hosts. We finally made it together. We finally everything aligned correctly. We're all virtually in one spot. And I have missed Tim. That laugh. It's been. It feels like it's been weeks. I know it's been weeks.
I feel like I've had a holiday from you guys.
Oh, like a good holiday or a bad holiday?
Not on holiday. Just yeah, it's been like I hate the holidays because I like routine. I mean, I like the holidays themselves, but don't you kind of hate how it wrecks everything? Everything gets out of routine, and you know. Well, now I'm getting started. You haven't even introduced us yet.
No, hey, everybody knows who you are. If you're a listener of the show, that's Tim. If you're not, that's Tim.
Hey, everybody, how we doing?
And Mitch, how's it going?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good. If you can hear me, I'm doing pretty good.
I can hear you. You're breathing. You're upright.
But if
your house is dry,
you can hear me on the recording, is a different story.
But oh my gosh, it has been too long. I did listen to episode 138. So last time we were able to get together was weeks ago. 137. We were like 14 minutes into it. I got a call from a client. Their network just tanked. We had to cut the show early, you know, and life happens. And Tim said, "Hey, this is what we do." And so I felt bad about that, but I got up there, got them all squared away, and yeah, they tanked. They were back up, but nothing too big a damage. They just the whole you know, a lot of my clients. I think all of our clients are relying completely solely on the internet for communications for everything, and when that goes down, it creates some problems. So they're back up and running, and then last week, gosh, I think last week was a huge antivirus deployment for me, and that kind of came on the heels of huge infection, so had to move some stuff around, but really glad to be back with everybody.
Well, you're back.
I'm back. I am back. So, what do you guys do this week?
Ooh.
Oh, okay, Mitch, go ahead. I'm gonna call him Mitch. He was sitting politely. He had his hands raised.
I'm the one who always says I contribute the least, but I probably fixed about 5 PCs in the last month or so.
Holy cow!
Yeah.
Hey, leave some for the rest of us, man.
And yeah. And the last one, you know, you really feel good when you're only on a PC for 3 hours, or maybe it was probably less than that. And actually, the one before that wasn't bad either. It was just a bad power supply.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
so I've been doing a little bit lately, and so now I feel like I'm actually contributing because I really don't know what I'm talking about because my 2001 A plus certificate is no good anymore. So,
You have, Mitch, you're an A plus to me.
well, 2011. Now you have to know. Some, I think you have to know smartphones now for the A
Do
plus.
you?
Yeah, I
Did A
think.
plus expires?
Yeah, it's starting in 2011. It does. Yeah.
But that's if you get an A plus starting in 2011, you have to renew every year. But the old ones are grandfathered in to be all the time.
No,
Like,
I don't. No, I'm pretty sure now it's over with. It's gone. Now, if I read it right, but I didn't read the whole thing. But that's the way I was. Actually, that's the way. If you listen to Chris on is that his name, Chris Carruthers, or
mhm.
yeah,
On with the Jeff Hallish on the Pod
Mhm.
Nuts Colin
yeah,
show.
yeah. I think I read it too, but I might be
Oh,
wrong.
I'll have to go look that up because I may have to resubmit a new A plus to my boss.
And that costs that's like a couple $100 a test.
No, I'm not going to submit nothing to my boss then.
Whatever it was.
He can fire me.
No,
Yeah. Give
they,
it
Right.
to the man. You tell him, Martin.
You're
Say, I
not the
don't care
boss.
if I am working 80 hours a week in this dump.
You're
You
not the
can't
boss of
tell
me.
me what to do, man.
My wife, on the other hand,
Oh, that boss. You do as you're told.
oh yeah, how high? How high do you jump that high?
Oh, you're allowed to jump?
Yeah, we live in the Pacific Northwest.
Okay.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned power supplies, Mitch, because I had a computer that, one of the many things I did, I was called out to, computer worked fine last night. We unplugged it. The people, the janitorial staff unplugged the computer, moved it because they were painting, moved it, plugged it back in. It doesn't boot up. It's like, all
Turn
right,
it off first.
right.
Then
So
just plug it.
I have no idea.
Okay.
All I know is I went out there and went out and they said, well, we think it's the power supply or we think it's the power button. They said, like,
Okay.
okay, I don't know without looking at it. So I walk up and I push the power button and sure enough, nothing. I look and I light on the back of the hard drive, or excuse me, light on the back of the power supply. It is a Dell computer. You can see through the side panel. You see light on the motherboard, so there's power getting to the machine. Unplug it, all the lights go out. Plug it back in. Hit the power supply, nothing. Hit the power button, nothing comes on.
the real thing, to release the unplug everything and hit the button for 10 or 15, 20 seconds.
Right, did that, nothing. Move the power supply to another outlet, nothing. I mean, really, it was nothing was happening to this. It wasn't even. Sometimes when sometimes you plug the power supply in, sometimes the fan will spin a little bit, just to
Yep.
nothing. Nope. I said, well, I told her, I said, well, it's two things. It's either power supply or it's the motherboard. I was south of Fry's when this happened, and Fry's is a good good about 30-minute drive for me. And he said, I'm south of Fry's. I'll swing by Fry's on the way home with this computer. I'll pick up a hard drive or power supply. I'll get back tonight because I still have another 70 miles to drive today. And the worst thing that is, if the power supply, boom, stick it in, good to go. I'll bring it back tonight. If it's the motherboard, then I'll grab one of the spare laptops that the company has, and I'll bring that back tonight, and we'll get everything set up. And they said, okay. Come home, get a new power supply, open it up, unplug everything, power supply right to the motherboard. I mean, there's onboard video. It's just RAM chips. So I took out RAM. Nothing. It's not even getting to the point where it's beeping because there's not power even making it to the motherboard yet. So I unplug everything, unplug the power, put the new power supply, just sitting on top. So I'm not going to install the power supply, and then I go to hit power, nothing, same thing.
Oh man, with the new power supply.
So I'm thinking, well, great, now it's either motherboard or something else. So I quickly jump onto the Google, and they said, well, one of the things that I noticed that was odd when I picked up this computer is that when they had unplugged it, they had taken the headphone jack and instead of the back, they put it in the front, which, okay, somebody just puts in the front. I didn't think much of it. But when I was Googling this, somebody in a forum somewhere mentioned that sometimes there's a circuit loop that happens or something along those lines where it kills the power, and that you have to unplug the front USB headers off the motherboard. You know, the cable that runs from your front USB, you know, into the case, and then it plugs into the motherboard. You unplug that, and it boots up. So I unplug the power supply. I know, unplug the power supply, unplug the front USB headers, put the power supply back in, vroom, starts up.
With the original power supply?
With the original power supply.
Got that.
I'm like, this is weird. So I shut everything down, I unplug it, let all the lights go off again, make sure everything's dead, plug the front USB headers back in, turns on. I'm like, great, sweet. Close up the case, you know, everything, and I'm now headed back down to Canby, Oregon, to deploy this. I get down there. It's about 8 o'clock at night. I bring tools just in case. You know, I get down there and I plug it all in, right? I put it in position where it needs to go in the desk and hit the power supply. Nothing.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. So this time I'm like, I know what this is. I'm put on its side, unscrew the side. You know, off comes the side. Unplug the front USB headers. Hit the power supply. Nothing. I'm like, oh no. So there's another cable. There's the sound, you know, the front USB or the front sound. Unplug those, hit the power supply, spins up. Excellent. Put the case on it, put it back upright, put it back in its position, write a note. Computer works. The front USB and the front power, the front sound are disconnected. You know, they're disabled. Those are not going to be in function, but your computer's back up and running. And I said, you know, if we need to do something else, if they need more USB ports than the 6 they have in back, we'll get a USB hub.
So you never even plugged it back in to see if
Never even plugged it back in because I mean, well, here's the thing: is again, they're 40 minutes away from me. Yeah. So you know, that's the problem. Is that I'm looking at, you know, an hour and a half, almost an hour and a half round trip just to go down there, just to do something. So I'm like, I'm just going to unplug these and leave them alone. So I don't know if it's going to happen to everybody, but Dell computer with the front USB, if you don't get power, check it out. I'm not sure. I don't know why, but it's doing something and it's keeping itself from booting up.
I think it's.
That's bizarre.
Might have a problem with it in the future still.
Oh yeah, well it's an older computer. I mean, one of the things is if it's a motherboard, they were just going to buy a new computer. But this computer of like kind of the fleet of computers that this company has, this one is actually running really, really well.
Oh yes,
yeah. You know what I mean?
You're I know what you mean. It's like I'll do whatever you want. I don't care how quirky it is. You know, you're really giving it for the team there, pal. I'll play your little game.
You know, of course, it's not one of the ones that oh yeah, we've had huge issues with that computer and now it's dead. We should just let's just take it up back and shoot it. No, this is like we gotta save this one.
That's the one that's not an appliance. It has the soul.
Right.
Did you get a good look at the caps while you were in there? Everything looked good on there, no bulging caps and.
Yeah. I I'm not an expert on those, but I didn't see anything out of the ordinary. And I guess I'll know if it catches on fire. But
how many sticks of RAM did it have?
2. That was it. Onboard video, everything else. It had 2 sticks of RAM.
So RAM could make it act crazy too.
Sure, the RAM could make it act crazy too, but I took the RAM out. But here's the thing: remember, I took the RAM out. It didn't even beep at me.
Yeah.
So it was never getting to the point where it's affecting the RAM.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't. It just nothing was spinning on. The power, nothing was turning on. So I don't know.
It does sound like something weird going on during those initial self checks or something.
Well, it was one of those things of we're gonna move it, and we forgot to tell you we're gonna move it, and then the maintenance moves it, maintenance puts it back together. Who knows if the painters kicked it over? Who knows if it fell on its side while they're painting? Yeah. I mean, somebody could have shot put it across the room for all I know. But it is what it is.
Well, and that's why as a repair tech I don't paint.
Right. That's right. That's right. One of the things that I had way early on was, and probably a lot of our listeners have already done this, but just a suggestion is that for the longest time but using Server 2003 for a long, long time. I'm very comfortable in 2003, very comfortable in 2008. Okay, in 2012. 2012 is a glorified 2008 on it's like Windows 8 versus Windows 7. It has some really cool features, and every one of these new server editions has really cool features, but you end up kind of using what you know, and that goes for anything. You if you may have a set of tools you use for cleaning up viruses, and those are the set of tools you use. Something fancy may come along, and it kind of takes a little bit of time for us techs, I think, for us to change our mindset to use something different. So I have been using login scripts for years. And how login scripts works is just exactly how it sounds. Is you create a script, and then as a client logs into their machine, it pulls a login script from the domain, and we tell it to do certain tasks. And a lot of the tasks usually are mapped drives and then shared printers, or add shortcuts to the desktop, or remove shortcuts to the desktops. And so I've gotten pretty proficient in login scripts. Well, one of my clients, their printers were all messed up and have been for years, and so I'm their new tech, and their old tech didn't really have everything organized. It was kind of messy, so I was using login scripts for quite a while to get everything just kind of situated and working, and it was working fine. But there were 4 copies of this printer and 2 copies of that printer, and this one printer didn't work right, and so it was just messy. So early mid-November, we went in there and we just redid everything, started from scratch with all the printers. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about was actually using the printer deployment within Server 2008 and Server 2012. You can actually go in there and apply, it's a group policy, and you can add printers to it and then apply that group policy to your computers and to your users, so that way your computers get it and your users get it. And you don't have to install anything. You just do it. You reboot the computer, and it starts getting everything, gets the new drivers and everything. So if you're not doing those already, I was really surprised on how easy it was to get that set up, and just one of those kind of things that I had kind of used in the past, never had any good luck with it, and I'm definitely way behind the curve on pushing out printers via group policy. I think a lot of our listeners, if they've ever messed with that, they're going to be like, welcome to welcome to 2009, Martin. But if you haven't used that before, give that a shot, because it actually really makes things a lot simpler. I was really impressed on how easy it was. The thing is I haven't been here in so long that I have kind of just a hodgepodge of
Bring the next thing, man.
Projects and tests and stuff that I've done.
Yeah, well, I'm eating it up.
Eating it up.
Eating it up. I got a fork.
Right. You have 4? Well, you go.
No, I have a fork.
Oh, you're a fork. Oh.
No, I have a
Ford.
No.
Ford truck.
Oh my gosh.
Here we go.
Okay, so so last I listened to episode 130 this morning, and Tim and Mitch are talking about Mitch driving home.
Talking to my grandpa.
And and I'm listening this morning, and I start busting up because it's funny to me that Mitch says, Tim asked Mitch whether or not he can take the company car home. And then Mitch says, I can't drive the Ford truck home, is what I hear. The Ford truck. And so then he goes on to talk about how he's going at 6 or 7 miles per hour, and it makes me laugh because I have a Chevy Impala, and I've had issues with this American car versus my wife's Toyota that has, almost 300,000 miles on it, and it just purrs. My 160,000 American, car is having issues with it. And so I thought Mitch was making a joke against Ford trucks. Then I'm telling these guys on Voxer that I think this is funny, and they're like, no, fork truck. Like a forklift. And I'm like, oh, that's why Mitch said 6 or 7 miles per hour.
And I showed you, that's the one I drive, that the picture I took. I sent you guys.
But Mitch's fork truck has spinners on it.
I have a Honda CRV, so that's
Spinners.
not at work.
I know, but I don't. It caught me as funny, and I heard something and just ran with it in my head.
That's because I'm mumble. My wife says I'm mumble. I can't understand you. Talk right. That's what she says to me. So evidently, and I have a half a cold, I think.
Well, and thinking we had put all this behind us, I just say the word fork again, having nothing to do with that, and you didn't, and again you didn't hear me right. So, am I saying the word wrong? Fork.
No.
Fork.
I'm gonna buy a fork. I'm gonna buy a fork Mustang.
A fork Mustang.
Fork Mustang. Yep.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
I heard it wrong. I'm sorry.
No. Fjord.
Well, this is here's a tool then. I had a computer. Oh, okay. Well, let me start with this one. So this one project will encompass tools that I want to talk to you guys about, as well as some, uh, uh, anyways, some projects. So I get a call from a client. Their computer is just, it's not working right. Things aren't loading. It's just slow. I have to head down to this client anyways, or by them. This client actually is about an hour and 15 minutes away from me. So I get there, and it's not working right. There's problems with it. So I bring it home, and I start looking at it. And as I'm opening up folders, there's a shortcut in every single folder that says unencryption or something along those lines. And so then what do? Is I start opening up Word documents, and it says encrypted, PDFs, encrypted.
Nice.
Yeah. So it made me think of something, and that Mike Tech Show, podcast number 525, he goes and he starts talking about Crypto Prevent
Mm-hmm.
and the new crypto wall and all of that, the kind of the new crypto locker virus that's out. And there's nothing on this computer that they need. And so I just talked with them, and they said, let's just wipe it. All right. So we wipe it, and we reload it, and get it all up and running, and put back there, and get Dropbox and everything put on it. And I go to log in because they have an administrative account and then a user account, which is great. So that way the users can't necessarily install everything without a password. But everything runs except Dropbox. You go to run Dropbox, and it says that it can't find the path. Like it's really weird. So I uninstall Dropbox, and I reinstall Dropbox, and it can't. Same error. Now I go to the administrator, and I run Dropbox, and it works just fine.
Mm.
So, everything's talking about permissions, and you start Googling this, and Dropbox, make sure you have permissions to this folder, make sure you have permissions to that folder. Where I had already installed the new version of Crypto Prevent by Nick Shaw on there. So I uninstalled that because that does have some effect on group policies and the way things get installed. Pardon me?
The whitelist.
Right. So I uninstall it completely. Get rid of Crypto Prevent completely because I want to make sure that that's not the cause of it. And uninstall Dropbox, run CCleaner, clean everything up, reinstall Dropbox, everything works fine on the admin profile. Go to the manager profile, it doesn't work, same error. So then I start really Googling this and digging deeper into this, and people are saying, well, go to the H key, users, software, Windows, current, control set, something like that, and then you end up getting down into this Dropbox registry key, and inside of there's a folder called KS, and you're supposed to delete that. So I delete it on the admin side, and then I go to because it's an H key users registry, so that means every user is going to have this. So there's the Dropbox and the KS key folder on the admin. I go to the manager one. There's the Dropbox, the KS, and then a whole bunch of more folders. All these folders, and I go to delete them. It says you don't have permissions. So I run the tweaking Windows tweaking tool that goes through and just checks registry entries and keys and permissions, and I run all that, and it still doesn't fix it. So after a while, I'm thinking
This is after a clean, like a reinstall, clean.
This is a fresh reinstall.
Okay, and so all right, so there's some conflict with something that's happened after the reinstall. Okay,
right.
All right, I'm following this along. All right.
Hey,
Right.
you were in the admin account when you went in the registry?
Yes, but the key that you're supposed to remove with that Dropbox says is in the H key users folder. So every user is going to have their own separate that's kind of like your profile.
Hey, I mean, you can't see it from the admin though.
When you go to that, you see the admin one, not the manager one.
Gotcha.
So I go to delete it, and it says I can't delete it. Well, I start looking around for products then that will help me delete keys out of a registry that are locked.
Mm-hmm.
And I came across one called Registrar Registry Manager 7.0, and it's from Replendence.com. Just a small. Throw it in the chat room here, and it'll be in the show notes. All these, of course, are going to be in the show notes. I throw it in the chat. I throw it on this computer. Small little executable. I run it. It gives me your registry. You can go through there. I'm able to delete all the keys right from there. Even though it was locked at one time, it must go through and unlock it. Unlock it. Clean it all out. Reinstall Dropbox. Works like a charm.
Wow.
So every now and then you need a registry product that and that helps you just kind of get around all of these locks and these errors that the registry will throw at you. And this one actually works really well, and I was really impressed with it. Like I said, it's free. It works for Windows 8.1 all the way down to Vista XP 2000, both 32 and 64-bit. They have a command line version as well if you'd want to run that. But this GUI one, it's really simple. Nothing too fancy about it, but it just it works quite well. It's called
Resplendent.
yeah.
You know what? Actually, I'm familiar with these because Who Crashed is a program I've used off and
Oh,
on
is
for
it?
years. So yeah,
I don't think I've ever used that. So
that's a handy one.
what does that one do?
Um,
Tells you the information when you have
yeah,
a
it
dump, something like
kind
that.
of helps you cipher the crash dumps and that
Oh, okay.
without those things can be kind of a hassle going through setting up the. Oh my gosh, I'm so lost today.
Yeah,
It's a very simple program. Just run it. It kind of helps you out without having to set up the whole Microsoft thing and download the crap. And
it gives you an idea what's wrong. Well, there's another one too. There's two of them that are pretty good. I forgot what the other one was. But I've never had problems deleting anything in the registry. It's always been like a folder. And
Right.
Stuff I use for that.
But something made some change somewhere to that registry like that.
Right. And it just locked it up. So
interesting. And then and the only problem was just with the Dropbox. Everything was working fine, but it's just Dropbox.
everything was working fine in Dropbox. It was just the Dropbox on that one user. Now,
One user.
I didn't. Now, one of the things I could have done to test this, of course, was to create another non-administrative account, install Dropbox, and see if it works. But it would work. But Dropbox was working just fine inside of the administrator account, and I even gave just for test. I even gave it was the user called manager. I gave them administrative rights.
Yeah.
Just to check, and it still didn't do it. I did it in safe mode, still couldn't uninstall it. So, but this that registry registry manager 7 worked just fine.
Interesting. This was Windows 7.
Yes, Windows 7.
Yeah.
64-bit Windows 7. I think it was Windows 7 Home. Don't know if that really.
Wonder if that makes any difference.
I don't know. But.
Okay. All right. Well, good.
So
I fixed it.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was a cool thing. So it kind of was I wanted to mention that because Mike, like I said, Mike Smith from the Mike Tech Show goes on and talks about that at length at one point, and so that was the show notes in there.
I thought you were going to talk about when he had that crypto prevent virus. And did you listen to that one? How he got everything back?
Right. Well, yes, that was. See, this computer was infected by that crypto locker virus, and he was able to get things back. But by that time, I had already wiped this computer and reloaded it and redeployed it, and I was like, oh, you know.
It sounded like he spent quite a bit of time on it though, but he got it though.
Yeah, he did, and I was, I don't know. I think at some point, if you're, like I said, these people were this customer and this machine was just wipe it. We don't really need anything on there. Let's just move forward with it. Let's just, less time the better. But say a year ago when I was called out to that my very first client with the crypto locker, we spent a lot of time working on that and never did get it resolved because it was
the shadow copy or the backup thing too.
Right. Remember they lost all their backups and since then. So actually this morning one of the things that I did is I created a document on how to upgrade to the latest crypto prevent from Nick Shaw. I sent it out to my clients so they are installing this newer version because they all had been using like the version 4 and I think it's now up to version 7 and the new version 7 will, if you set it up correctly and like the max settings, it does have a better chance of catching the newest version of this newest iteration of this crypto locker virus. So I sent out actually this is one of the things I wanted to talk about as well is Brian Krebs on the 3rd sent out I get his emails, and he sent out an email that talked about, it was titled "Be Wary of Order Confirmation Emails," and it goes through and it basically talks about, these are companies that will send you fake confirmation emails that you've ordered something. You click on it and you get infected.
Oh my! I'll tell you. Well, finish and I'll tell you.
Okay. Well, the third one down is from Target, and there's a laptop right there. That laptop right there. I don't know if you can. People in the chat can see it. That laptop is being cleaned up because this couple they actually were part of the scam that their credit cards were stolen during the credit card breach at Target. So they don't shop at Target anymore. But yet they got an email saying they had ordered something from Target. So because they ordered something and they were curious what it was that they ordered, they opened it up. So I was talking to the husband today, and he said, "Yeah,
That's ridiculous.
so,
Oh my gosh, I really feel sorry for her, but that's nuts.
I know. So
That's a shame. Why not? Look, I don't have to tell our listeners this, but if you get something that says it's from Target, just go to Target. Just go to Target. If it could be from anybody in your email. Go to Target. That's what I'm like. You think it's from Target? Yes. Just go to Target.com. Log in.
well,
Your information's there. Look there.
right. For our listeners that are technical, you guys know what to do.
Yeah. I'm repeating in my mind. I'm repeating what I tell my customers.
Right. Well, and also when you hover over the link in the Target ad, it's like http://TRANGTRIN. Like it's gobbledygook. Like
Yeah.
it's not from Target.com. So she clicks on it, and this morning I get an email. I can't. She had to wait till she emails me from work. Computer's all infected. It wasn't the crypto locker, which I was kind of afraid it was, but just a mess of stuff. So we're I have it cleaned up. I was finishing up some scans on it tonight. I'm gonna take it back after the show because I just picked it up this afternoon. So, but I emailed this out to my customers today, my clients, saying, guys, it's coming back around. You are gonna it's a holiday season. They're phishing attacks are gonna go on the rise. Remind our listeners here, remind your customers if you're doing this that, it's coming. That don't click on anything. If FedEx is supposed to be sending you something and they said, hey, click here for the link, then maybe go to wherever you ordered it from. If you ordered it from Amazon or if you ordered it, or call FedEx directly with the tracking number. Be very, very careful because you could easily find yourself completely infected and needing a full system reload or a wipe or something to get your data back.
It's going to cost you more than whatever the thing was that you supposedly ordered but didn't.
It is, and I do have to give. Speaking of Amazon, I got to give them a thumbs up +1 if you will. Ordered a new hard drive and a battery for another client of mine, and ordered it. Supposed to be here on Saturday. I never saw it. Then they handed it off to the postal service. Postal service said they put it on the doorstep. Never saw it. Did see the UPS package that I ordered from Amazon on the doorstep. Not the one from the post office service. So I wait. You go to the postal site and they say, well, sometimes we say that it's actually been delivered when it hasn't, and it'll be delivered the next day. So today rolls around. I actually filed a claim with them right off the bat. Never heard anything back. You go to call them, you can't get a hold of anybody. So I waited till the day to give it time to make sure that, maybe because it was supposed to be delivered on Saturday, maybe they're not going to deliver anything on Sunday, so let's give them all day Monday. Just make sure that somebody will show up with my package Monday. Nothing. So I called up Amazon this morning and I said, here's what's going on. Amazon full refunded me for the stuff that they handed it off to the Postal Service, and the Postal Service lost it, dropped it, kicked it, did the Ace Ventura to it, I don't know. They full refunded me this morning my amount that I paid for it, and then turned around and said, okay, now let's reorder the stuff, and they gave me free next day shipping.
Wow. Hey, they're awesome. They just...
But it sounds really... Mike Smith had a similar situation, too. He ordered something. I forgot what it was. And he had a hard time tracking it. And finally they admitted to the mistake, but theirs went through. They flipped it over to actually. I don't think it was the post office or some third party something, and it was. But I think he finally got it. But I forgot what it was that he ordered.
I mean, it's just, I mean, it's for a client who's very patient. I emailed him this morning and I said, here's what's taking so long, and here's what's being done to resolve it. So we're going to put a new hard drive in, get that up and running. They've been running on a bad battery or the battery is there, but it doesn't do anything. They've been running on that for a long time, so I'm going to get their hard drive and the laptop back to him, as soon as possible. And then when the battery comes in, because they can't give me overnight shipping on the battery because Amazon is not selling it. It's from a third party. So once the battery comes in, then I'll go out and swap out the battery for him. So
you see, I got an email yesterday. I'm at work. I'm lunchtime, and then check on my phone. I check my email about like 20 minutes before. Thank you for your purchase at Staples, and I'm at work.
Yep.
Now, but it was legit. I mean, I'm calling up everything. I said, man, because it looked legit, but they had like portion of a charge card number on there. But I know it's not mine. But I do have an account there, and long story short, well, my wife bought me something, and I guess, yeah, yeah, yeah. She used and I guess given our phone number, automatically went to my rewards, and it sent me they start sending you emails.
That's great. Or your wife's like a total spammer.
No. One thing, it didn't say what it was though. It just says one. It does. There's nothing on there. But I'm like going nuts. I'm at work. I'm calling up to talking to the manager at Staples. All of a sudden, my stepdaughter is texting me because I had to ask her about it, and so that's what it was. But I still don't know what it is. So
that's great.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I do have something here from Costco. Should I click it?
No. Well, I mean, unless you ordered something from Costco, is it like a free?
No, apparently no. There's no. No. It's not. It's what you just talked about.
Oh.
And you know what? I only have 4 days, and this was in my spam from 7 days ago. So I guess I'm screwed.
Yeah, I did get something from. I actually got one the other day.
The window of infection is closed.
Yeah, and I thought, well, it's on my Linux box. I wonder if I should open it. I was like, nah, just delete it. So I didn't.
That's what I would do if I get a weird email. I would go to my Linux box and open it up because it's just curious. Google Gmail's usually pretty good.
Yeah.
But or I'll use Sandbox EIE or something. But most of them are pretty good. I know. Now I got one from Dury Hotels. You think that's legit?
I think that's probably legit.
Yeah, no, I'm joking.
So speaking of going to your Linux box and opening up that, one of the things, like I said, that I did last week. So one of my clients do you remember when my client who they had email their email just died one day? It was gone. The provider just died. They were down emails all day long.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that. It was a while ago. So this same company, in June, I started working with GFI in June, and I was starting to kind of get my feet wet with it, and said, hey, we have this product that's some monitoring, some antivirus. It may be something you guys would be interested in, because they were just running Security Essentials, and they said, really, at this time, no, our tech budgets, you're not really doing a whole. They're not feeling like they're getting infected enough to validate purchasing an antivirus product. Paid for antivirus product, in fact, and I said okay. So I checked back with them a couple months later, just nothing. Didn't hear anything after that. So then I got an email. We're all infected. So okay. So I got there, cleaned them up, and then I'm hearing from this other company, like 3 sites, because they're all in different locations, not interconnected, but all 3 of them started getting infected because so somebody's sending out something, and And so I get an email back from the guy I had been working with, and he says, if you could price me out, give me a quote for like Norton or McAfee or something that we can get everybody cleaned up. And I said, well, I actually happen to have this product that I've been doing. And he goes, done, do it. So that was one of my projects last week, is I ran around and deployed my managed antivirus on 45 computers. And one of the last ones I deployed on was this gentleman's computer. And he's a nice guy. He's technical. So he has his 2 monitors for his Windows box and then his Mac. And he says, yeah, and we were talking about that and talking about Crypto Prevent and Crypto Locker. And he said the same thing, Mitch. He said, yeah, if the email looks really suspicious, I go over here to my Mac and I open it up here. That way I don't get my Windows box infected. And so he said, I'm pretty sure my Windows box is clean. I haven't seen anything. I said, okay, not a problem. And so we still get them moved over, and I run through the deep scans and stuff. I make sure everybody's getting scanned and stuff like that. What do I find on his computer? Conduit.
Right.
But of all of this,
baby.
like the whole, yeah.
Conduit.
So he was probably being very protective about what he opened up and what he found and what he did with this Windows box, but yet still had conduit in there.
They piggyback that on stuff. I mean,
I know.
I've done it by accident before too.
It's nasty. But I've been deploying my managed antivirus product now quite more often, and I've been really impressed with it. I wasn't sure how it was going to work out, but as far as finding the malware and spyware and viruses, because we've talked about in the past that it's mainly malware and spyware that we're finding, not necessarily viruses as much. It's the unwanted programs and the pop-ups and the redirects that we're seeing a lot of, and I've been finding a lot of stuff with this and been very pleased. I think one computer after that big deployment I scanned out and it had 500 and some deployments, infections on it, which we got those all cleaned out.
That was my experience a few years ago. That it was good. And it was very effective. When it found stuff, it got rid of it. Okay, and it was like as soon as something was detected, boom, it was gone. And it was all, of course, and that's the whole point. It was all very automated. I mean, by the time you're learning about it, these were almost reports. And the customer never knows about it really, unless you're sending out those emails are set up to be sent out periodically saying, hey, look what we've been doing for you. Do you have that? Did you configure that where the customers get reports?
No.
Yeah.
No, I want to make it as simple as possible for the customers that they. I don't even have. I'm using GFI is what I'm using. So there is a icon. It looks kind of like a life ring. You can see on a ship. It's kind of red and white, and it has that kind of the ropes around the edges. Yeah. You can have that running in the task in the toolbar in the bottom. I don't have that running at all. I leave it very simple. But I have a daily scan, and then I have a deep scan that runs on Wednesdays, and I'm always finding stuff. But what's nice about this is I know when a computer is having issues with printing. I know when it's having issues with, other stuff, and it's just I find that it has just saved me time and has become a great tool. And I kind of kick myself. Liam from Liam Tech and I have talked many times about this, and I kind of kick myself that I didn't do this a long time ago because it's just a great managed simple
because it was awful years ago. I mean,
was it?
Right. Well, it's only gotten better and better and better. I mean, the experience you guys are having compared to what I had a few years ago, completely different. I mean, I don't know exactly what the issue was, but I know that there have been a number of issues that have been resolved since I worked with it. So yeah, I think you guys benefit from having. Whereas I stepped into it and kind of dealt with maybe some decisions that were made previously. I mean, you guys could do it from the ground up the way you want it, but it's I think you should be like really satisfied that you've started using it and you're happy with it. Don't be kicking yourself for not starting earlier because it's definitely made progress.
That's cool, and check it out. I talked to Ed Little, who I believe we have an email from him coming up here in a little bit. We're going to talk about that. Talk to him in length about it at OLF. And I mean, it's a Linux fest, and yet we're talking about how to protect our clients' Windows machines, and that's just part of life. And there's more Windows machines out there than our Linux machines, and so he started using it, and from what last I heard, he was very impressed with it.
It's so cheap.
It is so cheap, so cheap, and I don't have a great segue into this next, what I want to say next, but I'm just going to say it. So speaking of tools that I wish I had, purchased a while ago, is D7. I I was
That's not cheap. That's value.
yeah. Oh my gosh. So I thought when I purchased
Huh?
D7,
How's that? How was that?
that's a
Segue.
great segue.
Yeah. Yeah. Going from cheap to value. Hey, what do you got next, Martin?
Let me tell you about D7.
Oh,
Uh,
that's beautiful. Tell me more.
I'm going to. Here we go. I'm gonna drive it to you in my Ford truck.
That's delightful.
The bomb, if you will.
D7, you can fork it.
Come on, I demand you guys to continue. Come on now.
Okay. All right.
All right.
All right. So I've been using D7. So when I purchased D7 II, I thought this is a tool that I will use every now and then. To be honest, because I'm not doing a whole lot of cleaning up, or I didn't think I was. Because I always had different tools, I always had manual ways of doing stuff, and now I've had it for, I don't know, I've had it for a while, and I use it literally almost daily. And I don't say that just to be like literally, not really saying literally to mean literally. Literally, I use it almost daily. There, you know, we're gonna get emails about too much use of literally. I use it all the time. It is a great tool. I can't think of a reason why I don't use it. So I had a client today, actually, speaking of D7. So here's what happened. I have a computer that needs to be reloaded, but they don't have the office keys. Or they do, but they don't know. The documentation wasn't fully complete. They kind of lost some of the documentation. So one of the things that D7 does is it records all of that information for you. All that information for you. So when you open up D7 and you run it, you're going to get a report of your system report and your info report, and that's going to have things like your Office keys and your Windows keys and your Internet Explorer keys, stuff that you may never really pay attention to. But I had a client who needed to reload Windows and needed to reload Office, but he had all of these keys of Office, but he didn't know which one went to where. I ran D7, didn't need to do any cleanup on it because we're going to reload the machine, but all I used it for was just a reporting factor. Well, the other thing that he had the trouble with is he had all of these other files and folders, but he didn't know where they belonged. So he gave me a list of computers he wanted me to run it on. So I just went to 5 computers today, ran D7 on each one of them, opened it up, made sure it ran, closed it out, and then I was emailed a report. And in that report, now I was able to go to him and say, here are the keys. These keys match up with these computers, and now I've made his job easier. And now we're able to use. The documentation is now becoming more in line, and it's actually becoming more efficient. So using D7, which I have been using for viruses and malware and spyware and cleaning up the computers and doing tweaks and doing repairs, has been really great. But here's another way that I've been able to use D7 is for the reporting feature. I have a list, and if he calls me up and he says, what's that key for this one computer, I can go to my email, I can pull it up, and I can say, here's the key. And like, how'd you do that so fast? It's like, well, I have a great tool written by a great guy, that it works. So if you guys are still on the fence, I know we kind of missed I know Nick had a sale coming up. He had a kind of a Black Friday sale, and we hadn't spoken about it because we hadn't seen it. But if you guys are on the fence about D7, especially D7 II, and are you going to use it or you're not? I don't know. I didn't really think I was going to use it, and I use it all the time. I really do. It's such a great product, and I can't even think about not using it now because it does so many things that I would never even think about. It's right there. It's simple. It's one little install, and you can put on your thumb drive and you can run with it and go to all your clients. So check it out, foolishit.com. While you're there, get yourself the latest version of Crypto Prevent and get that installed on your computer so you can keep yourself safe from the nastiness that is out there. Foolishit.com, and thank you, Nick Shaw, for just being such a great supporter of the Podnuts Network. He's been on our show before. He's been on some other shows. We'll definitely need to probably get him back, see what's going on. But such a great guy and a great product. Check it out. Did I put you guys to sleep?
No.
Okay.
No.
I wasn't sure. So
It's an education when you speak, Martin.
I had a high school professor that would put us to sleep, and so I kind of wonder. I'm not a professor at all. Don't do that. something that I came across, and this has been a while. If you listen to the Pod Nuts call-in show with Jeff Hallish and Corey,
Chris
Chris
Carruthers.
Carruthers, thank you. They were speaking of they were talking about they were just talking about PCs and just moving stuff around, and I couldn't remember what the gist was, but I remember them talking about this and this flagging my attention because I didn't know this. But Chris Carruthers says that the Microsoft license, if a client brings me a computer and we need to reload it, and there's an OEM sticker on it, I can use that sticker, I can reload it with that key. You know, I can get the media. Say you don't have the media, I can go get the Windows 7, whatever. I load it, put the key in, I give it back to the client, we're good to go. If a customer gives me a machine or you get a machine and then they don't want it, but you then reload it with that key and transfer it to somebody else, you're not allowed to do that. Even though the sticker is on the case, you can't use that same sticker. Legally you're supposed to get a new one. I didn't know that. I mentioned you were shaking your head.
No,
It
no.
sounded like you
I remember the episode. I listened to
you
it.
knew that. You remember that one? And I didn't know that. So one of the things that they had mentioned was, of course, removing the key. Now, the other day, I was able to give a Linux machine away, and it was a Windows box. I ripped the sticker off it, put Linux on it, and that's perfectly legal. But How to Geek has an article that says how to uninstall your Windows product key before you sell your PC. Now, this would be more along the lines of not reloading it, but this is you have a valid machine that's up and running, and you need to uninstall the key, but not uninstall the operating system. It looks like you can run through this, you can uninstall the key, run some commands, and then what will happen is they will then be prompted to purchase a key.
Mm.
So that'll be in the show notes. But yeah, How to Geek does the thing. It actually says how to uninstall your Windows product key before you sell your PC. So with that rule that you're not allowed to change ownerships of the key, I mean, then what happens is that if client A is done with the computer and you give it to client B, but your client A paid for the license, that license just goes away. You can't transfer it. I believe it just disappears and client B needs to buy a new one. So, and I didn't know that, and I thought the sticker stayed with the machine, and so I in the past I've transferred licenses to between users before, but I didn't.
He was also talking about buying. Now you got me confused. But about
Sorry.
upgrading the operating system for a real low price. If you're upgrading the computer itself, you could, let's say if it had XP, you can basically trade it in for a Windows 7 on that used PC that you upgraded, whatever you did to it, and get. What did he say? He's paying like $33 for an OS on those type of machines.
But I think he has a TechNet or I think he's got some other subscription. Was that? Maybe am I wrong in that?
No, I think you're right. It wasn't TechNet now, but I think you're right. Yeah, some kind of.
Yeah, he's
sign up for this thing. Windows something program. That's what it was. Microsoft.
Right, because he's a reseller then, so he can resell keys.
Reseller.
Okay, so because he's got a reseller license, he can resell the keys at a very discounted rate. But I don't have that. So if a client wants a box, then we need to go buy a license from Office Depot, Staples, whatever. You're gonna have to be they will legally have to go get a license for that. You just can't say, well, the sticker's on the box and that transfers with it. So
okay.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't understand a lot of it. I think a lot of it's a surprise to most people.
Right. That's one of those ones where it's like, oh, you didn't know you weren't supposed to do that? It's like, well, no, I didn't. It didn't make sense why you would. Oh,
No.
yeah, well, no, it's always been that way. Well,
No.
okay, I guess then I've been breaking the law the whole time.
And there's a real disconnect. When you hear things like there's a real disconnect between what's supposedly what is probably true and what actually just really works in the real world. Because I understand that. Let's say I'm just going to assume that this is true. You pick up the box, you take it from here, you take it over there. Well, maybe they're not going to know that, but I mean, how often have you're working in Microsoft, you do a reinstall, something doesn't work right. Well, it's like, well, just do this, and that works. And you're like, okay, well, all right, I'm happy. Well, maybe this was wrong and you didn't know it. Well, it's up to them to police this crap. I don't need to know this their crazy stuff. And if it wasn't supposed to work, why did they let it work? And that's and then you hear something like this, it's like, why do you people make this so stinking difficult? Can I just buy your crap and use it?
Use it.
Maybe, I'm
Use it.
sorry.
Use it
Maybe I got a little personal on that one.
Here's Martin. There's a good question.
Maybe I'm feeling a little tender today.
Highlander has a good
Yeah.
question about their newer BIOSes. That's where the keys are kept in there now.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I unfortunately, Highlander, I don't have an answer for that because the license keys are kept within the new Windows boxes, and I think that's some of the problems you went through, Mitch. Was when you reload a Windows 8 machine. I'm gonna have to start to learn, and I think on 138, the last episode, Tim, you talked about wanting to get a Windows 8 machine just to practice, just so you could reload it.
See what would happen.
I have my in-laws bought a new computer over Christmas, and it's sitting. It arrived, and it's here, and it's a Windows 8 laptop. And while I'm excited for them to get a new laptop because their computer's fairly old, I think this is going to work out really well for them. And I'm understanding Windows 8 and 8.1, and we're going to put StartX on it, and we're going to make it very simple for them. My concern is that someday it's going to break, and that someday I'm going to have to fix it, and it's with all the new legality and the licenses and how everything on Windows works. I've heard from two camps. I've heard, it's pretty simple. You just do ABC and you're set up, ready to go. And then I've heard other people say it's a pain in the rear, and I'd rather cut off my arm than try to reload, a Windows 8 box. So,
real quickly, my two experiences, which the one went bad, but the one I did a while ago, it was on the HP. It just wouldn't. I tried to do a recovery from his partition. Windows 8 just would not. I wouldn't error after error. Didn't even start stalling. So I was told, that machine was bought with basic Windows 8, and I had a Windows Basic retail disk that I had was mine. And I was told, unlike the OEMs where you have that will work on the new ones legally if it's the same match, and it did. It worked fine. It authenticated and everything. Because someone else told me, some tech guy told me, you can do that with Windows 8, and I did get all the updates with that fine, and we took it up to 8.1, whereas the one I just did with that Sony, that was a nightmare. But anyway, I'm sorry, I just had to throw that in there.
No, that makes sense.
I hope you have a good time when you're.
Well, just now as I was listening to you talk about this, the thing that popped in my head was I'm going to probably, before I get too far into this box, is just image it. So I have an image of this machine, brand new, right out of the box.
Mm-hmm.
And or either that, or I'll image it after I install the users on it, because I have to create, because it came with a year free Office 365, so I need to create them a Hotmail account or an Outlook account, which
This is a brand new machine.
Brand new machine.
You can bypass. You don't have to do that.
Right. And I was started to do that, so I didn't have to log into the so I don't have to use the Office or the Hotmail account, the Microsoft account, to log into the machine. Just use a local account. But I believe to get the free Office 365,
yeah, you're right.
I'm going to need to create one for them. And then I'll create one for them, keep the username and password for myself, and then forward any emails to that to her current email address, or keep it current to me. Just forward it on to me. That way they don't have to worry about it, and I can always take care of it for them. I'll be putting my antivirus on there as well, because it came with the free, it came with the free year of Kaspersky or something like that.
That is Windows 8.1, right?
I'm assuming it's.
Yeah, it should be 8.1.
It's brand new. It's brand new. It just came in. So.
Really, with Windows 8.1, you don't need that star dock or whatever it's called.
Well,
maybe they do. I don't know.
Yeah, I have a feeling they're going to want it.
Yeah.
So, I guess I could probably give it to them and say, "You want to try it out?" And they're going to say, "It doesn't work well," because it's their travel computer. They're not. They're computer savvy, but they're not. It's not 100% computer savvy. So I'm going to make it as simple as possible. And for $5, I'll just put StartX on there. Should we go to emails? Do we have time for emails?
We got that voicemail too. Don't forget.
Oh yeah, we have voicemail. Let's
You should have
let's
got him a
listen.
WoW computer.
They're not that old. But that's a good idea.
Did you say you want me to play this voicemail or?
Yeah, go ahead.
Fill us in. Who's this from?
This is from Sherwin Williams.
Not the painter. Okay.
Not the painter.
All right. Let's listen. Let's have a little listen.
This message is for the Geekster team. This is Sherwin. If you're into lookup, I want to say a big thank you for the last show and mentioning of seaports. For some reason, I thought I might have heard it before, but totally forgot it. So that was really nice because I ran into an issue whereby a client had an infection and was reaching out at maybe doing 10, 15 concurrent connections to a weird server on the net. I was just loading on his machine. AZ wasn't finding it, so I was able to power up Seaport, found the client.exe, removed it, see what application. I mean, it was just like I really know what to do. So thanks again, guys. You're doing a great show. And just, keep up the good work with that.
Awesome.
Yeah. I had a chance to meet Sherwin for the first time at OLF, and man, that guy, he is all about penetration testing and very much into all of the kind of the white hat stuff. And man, he is from, I can't remember where he's from, but he's got he's one of those guys that you could just sit and just listen to him talk. He's so knowledgeable and such a great guy. So Seaports we had talked about a while ago, and that was the application where there was a program running that kept changing the proxy on an Internet Explorer. I would uncheck it, it would check it back in, and Seaports came through recommendation. It came through a recommendation from one of the gentlemen who works with Nick Shaw in supporting D7. They said try this out, and that was where we were able to say, oh, okay, because it was pointing to port 8080. What's running on port 8080? SPD.exe. We were able to kill it and then and go for that. So Seaports is used to be able to look at what's running on the computer. And I don't remember what episode that was, but there was it wasn't too far back because
No.
Unfortunately, you couldn't find browser at night.
Right. Unfortunately for you, Mitch, because we threw the kitchen sink at that computer, and it.
I mean, it was terribly infected. It was like close to 3,000 the first scan of malware, but it's like 27 something. Oh.
Yeah, at that point, it may be time to what you did, just reload it. So, but that was cool. Thanks, Sherwin. For.
I think he was. He goes by Info. I think he used to go on Linux Basics when they used to have that show, and he was on there quite a bit. And I think that's the same guy.
Yeah, Info Lookup.
Info Lookup, right? He's a really intelligent guy.
Yeah, very intelligent. So some emails that we've been receiving, and this emails. So we're going back quite a ways because just had to play catch up. So Raymond Sleef. Sorry, Raymond. He's the gentleman who wrote just crazy PowerShell scripts to do some Active Directory tools, and we had talked to him about it, and he replied a couple times about doing some PowerShell scripts, and I don't know PowerShell at all, but this guy writes some crazy PowerShell scripts. Well, one of the things that I used a tool to clean up old computers. He ran I can't remember what the tool is right off the top. 80 tidy 80 or 80 tidy up or something like that. And basically what it was tell me how many went, I'm going to say show me all the computers that haven't checked in in the last 30 days, and then you can go through and you can then disable them from the domain, and that'll allow you to clean up your Active Directory without removing computers that do exist. Well, he said, during that whole time, he said, hey, there's a PowerShell script that he does. And so one of his emails here says, Martin, sitting on my oldest son's hockey practice, I decided time to finish up making this script at least publicly available, so that I don't end up send you endless files of stuff. I decided to put it on GitHub. I'm always working to figure out GitHub more and more, and so this is just another excuse to get used to it and get it in general. If you have trouble getting the code from GitHub, let me know, and I can always send it over through Dropbox or any other method. And I'll put the link for the GitHub in the show notes and also in the chat here. He says, right now, that's the only script I have uploaded for use. I'm sure I can expand on it, this allows for others to contribute back or just take it if they wish. Disclaimer, use at your own risk. and please attempt it in a test environment first. This has been working in my environment just fine. I'd love to know what others think. My to-do list of items would be to add the confirm and what if parameters, but it will take more time to get that in place than I wanted, and wanted to give this back to you guys for all the entertainment and information I get out to you. I'll get out of you, sorry. The code has a lot of regions added to it. To this is to help with readability in most ISEs, including PowerShell ISEs. That is included in the Windows OS screenshot. Shows all the code collapsed, so you can skim portions of it as you need to check things out. Nice way of looking at the 750 lines in a compressed format, at least in my eyes. Keep being awesome, and thanks for everything. Thanks, Raymond. So, thank you, Raymond. If anybody out there likes using PowerShell or is interested in testing with it, check out the show notes. He wrote a couple commands here that you guys can use to clean up your Active Directory.
Cool.
Let's see. Next email. This is from Ed Little. Hey, Martin. I was listening, and when he says Martin, he just emails everybody else, so I apologize for that. I was listening to the podcast and heard you talk about deep freeze. I've been using the Smart Shield from Centurion Technologies. It works quite well on public internet computers and saves a lot of problems from occurring. I've been using Centurion Technologies products for more than 10 years and have been happy with them. They used to have a Centurion Guard, which was a hardware piece that attached to a floppy drive ribbon cable that had a keylog you would use to enable or disable. Oh my! The product after that was called, I think, Drive Shield and was software based, and then they came out with their current product, Smart Shield, a few years ago. On the listserv I belonged to, Deep Freeze user had some frozen machines that got stuck in a reboot cycle from a failed Windows update schedule. The fix was having to add or remove a file from one of the Windows system folders. This had been done by accessing the hard drive from the rescue CD/USB stick, or attaching the drive to a working computer, and it was a pretty manual process. I've had this happen on occasion with Smart Shield, and every time I was able to unfreeze the machines from the Control Center server app used to manage the machines with Smart Shield on them. I figure this is worth a mention. Hopefully it would be a question to ask when evaluating or purchasing a product like Deep Freeze or Smart Shield. What happens when a frozen machine is stuck in an endless reboot cycle from applying scheduled/automated updates? Ed. So we had talked about Shields Up, or was it no? We had talked about Deep Freeze a while ago. I think we got in a conversation about using a kiosk and letting users just have at it, and then being able to reboot the machine and coming back to normal.
Yeah.
And so I think that was Centurion Tech was the one he had mentioned, and I believe and it actually shows pictures of kids in schools and stuff like that on that one. We have another email that's quite along the same lines. I just lost it. Well, we'll find it. I'll just keep going through the emails. So thanks, Ed, for emailing into us on that one. Paul emails us and says, I just finished listening to show 133, so I'm a couple of episodes behind. Well, not anymore because we missed some. Excuse me. Forgive me if this has already been answered. Someone on there mentioned that they had trouble getting Windows updates to work until they installed a driver from HP. I've run into this problem as well, and specifically the driver you're looking for is the Intel Rapid Storage Technology driver, formerly known as the Intel Matrix Storage Manager. For some reason, unless a newer version of the driver is installed, Windows updates fails to work. This is part of the chipset driver, not the network card. So I'm not sure why this makes a difference, but it does seem to be the case. Just thought I'd pass this on, as I have found installing the newest driver straight from Intel's website has always worked for me. Thanks for the shows. You always provide a plethora of good information. Paul. And that was me. I remember that when I couldn't get updates on an HP machine and I had to install something that was the driver. That's what I needed, was the Intel, what do you say it was? The
Intel Rapid Storage driver.
Yeah, because Windows updates wouldn't run until that was installed.
Oh, okay.
And I thought that was weird. So thanks, Paul. That's good information.
Good.
And I think our last one, and we're finally caught up. Heard your message, and this is from Joe Mesman, who actually lives up here in this area, and I've worked with him on a couple projects. He says, heard your message on Mike Tech's show the other day. Check this out. I had this issue a few years ago with a client and discovered why I couldn't use the Powerland adapters on a certain circuit. Can't wait till the next Geeksters comes out. and then he sends a link. So I can't remember what episode it was, but I called into Mike Tech Show because he was talking about having a house that needed a lot of wireless access points, and I think he ended up coming up with 3 of them he needed, and he was running cable all through the home. And I called in mentioning power line adapters, and they're the adapters that plug into your current electrical system, and you can run cables through them.
Yeah, I got one because you use them, right?
I use them, and actually my friend just deployed a set in his home and worked like a charm. He said he was really nervous about them, and he said, these are like stupidly simple. And I said, yeah, you just plug them in, they talk to each other, and you're good to go.
Yeah, I got one when you were saying. I mean, and it worked fine, but it just, it wasn't doing as good as the wires. So,
No, of course not. Well, it depends on the home as well. I've
Yeah,
used it.
it depends if you have. Yeah, I mean, if you have like if you have an issue where wireless is, you have a good situation, Mitch.
yeah, the
But-
wires was actually faster than that. Although, it
Yeah,
would've been
but
fun.
if you have a place where cinder block walls or some really unusual situation, that
Right.
I suppose.
Yeah, I got 2 access points, one on this side of the house, one on the other side of the house. So it just kicks in whichever.
You got 50,000 watts of pure broadcasting 24/7.
Like that.
Yeah, I have used them in an older home before, and they didn't work as well on and they work fine on mine. But this house was just completed just over a year ago. I've used them in a couple of coffee shops, and they work without a hitch there. You're running something over your electrical circuit, so you're forcing something over something that shouldn't ever work initially. I'm just amazed they do work. And in a pinch, if you need to run, you can pick these up for $50, $60 in a pinch. If you can't run a cable upstairs or downstairs or across your home, this may be a simple, easy way to do it. Is it going to be as fast as a gig? No, you're never going to get that. It may be faster than wireless, depending on what's in your home, or it may not.
And remember, I mean, 100 years ago, our ancestors were carrying buckets of data, manually.
Right.
So
just data lines when they had to transfer data from one end of the town to the other. They just all lined up. They just passed the bucket.
yeah, we just have buckets of data. So we really have to keep that in perspective.
I agree. Well, that's all I have. I feel like I've kind of caught up with everything that's been going on. It's
Good to have you back, man.
I am glad to be back. I was really, you guys had mentioned it last show and I was really touched by the nice things you said, because I don't know if you knew that I was going to listen to the show or not. So I think I would like to think that you said them out of the kindness of your heart and not because you thought I was going to listen to the show.
I'd been drinking.
All right, that's fine then. But I really, you did mention that I did not like missing the show, and that's true. I don't like missing the show. I enjoy hanging out with you guys. I enjoy doing the show. I get frustrated when work gets in the way, but on the other hand, I still have bills to pay and
Life.
Life and it's real stuff. This isn't. I don't be able to come to Geeksters because I need a vacation. It's because something's gone down and it's some stuff that I can bring to the show and I can experiment. That's what this show's about. It's just us talking about our daily lives and what goes on and what problems and what's our problem stories, what's our success stories, where did we fail and where did we learn from those failures, and I like bringing all that to the show and kind of just hanging out with everybody. You guys, Mitch and Tim, and everybody in the chat room, and people who call in and send us emails, just keep them coming. We really enjoy those, and really enjoy hearing from people. I had a text the other day. Somebody hit me up on Google Plus, pretty much saying, "When's the next Geeksters coming out?" Like knocking on the door. Hello, are you still there? And I said, "Oh yeah, we're still here. I'm sorry, we're getting there. It's just been it's been rough." And so I said, "Wait, we're this Tuesday. It's already booked out." And speaking of Tuesday, it is Patch Tuesday. I don't have any of the numbers for everybody, but don't forget to update your computers to the best of their abilities.
Yeah, I got 10 important updates are available on my
10.
one. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't. Like I
Then
said,
don't forget to roll back the updates.
right, because they may fail. Microsoft's had a good last couple months. They patch something and then they'll break something. So, well, if you want to, what do you think, guys? Think we've satisfied our listeners?
Yeah, I've had enough.
I wasn't asking if you've had enough. Do you think they've had enough?
I know they
It's
have.
not. It's not always about you.
I know, but I mean, surely they've had enough. I have. I'm bored now.
Okay. All right. Well, if people want to get a hold of you, Tim, what's the best way they can do that?
I'm Tim Bauermeister on the G Plus. Whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop. Mitch, if people want to send us a voice message like Sherwin was able to do.
How about sending us emails at geeksters@podnuts.com, voicemails at 7076-podnut. That is 707-676-3688.
Very nice. Yeah. I'm Obando Computing in the chat. I'm Martin at obandocomputing.com. Again, you can get us at geeksters@podnuts.com. Don't forget Christmas is 2 weeks now?
Yeah.
My daughter knows because her birthday's on the 19th, so she knows exactly how many days or how many weeks till her birthday. So, but podnuts.com/Amazon for all your shopping needs. Check it out.
Yeah, somebody get me. I want a American Fender Stratocaster Deluxe Sienna Sunset with the humbucker single coil HSS configuration. You might be able to get it for $1,500. Thank you.
Dibs. Sorry, I had to be the first one to call it.
I'm okay with peace on Earth.
Yeah,
that should be good.
I don't even know what I want. Nothing taps. He wants a new guitar, and you want peace on Earth. I'd like to have. I got nothing. I can't think of anything. But thanks, guys, for hanging out with us. Don't forget to support our sponsors, Nick Shaw, D7 to FoolishIT.com. All right, guys. Thanks, and I haven't said it in a while, so don't forget to be gruntled, and we're going to see you next fiscal Geeksters week. Bye, guys.
Very good. Let's stop that one.
So I'll put all those notes in the note. I didn't have a lot of those in there,
Very good.
but I'll put all those in there. One thing I didn't mention on the show is, do you guys ever use Notepad++?
Love it.
Yeah.
I have it open right now.
So for Linux, they came out with Notepad QQ, and it is sweet. You have to do some configurations with it, but it's Notepad++ for Linux, and it's really, really nice. I showed it to Dor, and because he uses Notepad++ for the macros at work, and yeah, he loves it. So I had to tweak with it, get some other stuff installed, got it working. It doesn't print for some reason. Okay. I can't print from it, which is weird, but I use it all the time, and man.
So for what? I mean, what does it do? Well, when you use it all the time, what, like, is there some function that?
Well, first off, I like the simplicity. I'm just a text notepad kind of guy, so if I need to just write something down, I'll just open up Notepad, or I used to use gedit, but with Notepad++ or QQ, I like the scripting languages, so I can throw an HTML word page in there just to make some changes, and it highlights all the HTML tags or the PHP tags. So I like it for the language packs that you can throw in there.
Why did you wait till after the show to say this? This is awesome. This is good stuff.
Well, I'll bring it next time then, because there's a couple other things that you need to do to get it. Well, because this is a Linuxy one, and actually I know that Dor and Cody are going to talk about it.
It's a Notepad++, which is following up on something that I'd mentioned. So I talked about Notepad++ during one of the shows. But anyway, this was I just wondered why you get to it, but yeah, I know it. I love it.
Yeah,
because it's like in between. It has all the functions that are missing. It's like the difference between Paint and Photoshop. But you don't need, can we have something in between, right?
Right.
And so, I like Paint.net, but that's the way Notepad++ is. It's like, well, Notepad is stupid, but I don't need a $400 Office suite. It's like, can I just have to make a few notes? Can I just have something in between? And I love that. It just fills a gap.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm not sure. I don't think it runs on. It's made for Linux, but I actually heard about it from Tony Bemis on Sunday Morning Linux Review.
Okay.
He mentioned it, and And just an awesome tool. I had to install Qt to get it to run right. You had to install it on in a certain folder, and then because like the menu was gone until you installed it, and then the menu was there, and it
What
was
is
up and running.
QT? I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I'd have to look it up.
Oh, okay.
So
What menu was gone?
the file edit,
Oh, I see. Okay.
all those file edit, search view, all that stuff across the top there. What didn't exist at
I see.
all. And so you install and then it installs. So I'm hoping they're going to make a package, a better
Sure.
package that'll kind of do it all in one, because you can do that. But man, this is I use it all the time now. Like I said, the only problem is I go Control P and it doesn't do anything. I say File, Print, and nothing shows up. It doesn't like file print now, nothing. Like my printer, the printer just doesn't exist out of it in there. So I don't know what it does, but if I really need to print something, I can just I just copy it over to a text editor, do it that way.
I'm looking this up. Notepad QQ.
My son's downstairs playing Battlefield. I can hear it. My daughter's here with her friend. Mitch left us. Where did Mitch go? Oh, there's Mitch.
It sounded good. You
That
could hear me for once.
was a great story, Mitch.
Which
It's
one?
like you thought you were getting scanned to hear your wife just bought you something. It's like that's great. That's great because it's the complete opposite of what we see like all year. Where this is actually
That's
legit.
the time it happened. I got one from Sears. She got something. They got something for the grandson, but I'm getting something from Sears, and so I wasn't sure, and especially after the big fight we had this weekend, I don't think she was ever going to buy me anything again. We're not. Are we live?
Yeah, we are still actually. All right. Well, on that note, we're gonna unlive it. So, thanks everybody for coming out and watching us live.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. No, we're gonna wait till we're gonna have Mitch tell us the punchline to his great joke. So, we'll talk to you guys later.